All right, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. It is March the 12th, 2022, day number 53 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 4-year consecutive day counts. It is day 1071. Today, y'all, we are going to read Tablet K of the complete Annunaki Bible. And then, if I don't come up with any stories to share today, we're going to make it back to my big toe and finish up chapter, chapter 27. Starting on page 223. I think I forgot. Hold on. Yeah, starting on page 223. Yeah, okay. There's only a few more pages left of that anyway. Chapter 27. We actually almost done with my big toe. And the next book is the I said the meditation book, the Egyptian meditation book is in the lineup. Yeah, because we got, what's this? On chapter 27, the last chapter is chapter 34, which is like 2 pages. It's like the ending chapter. Well, the ending chapter before you start section 2, which is book 2, which we're not going to start just yet, right? Although we're growing, our big toe is expanding. I think we should take a break. That's why I broke it up that way, because I knew we needed a little bit of experience, a little bit of time to let some things sink in and let us get some real life experiences, everybody on their own, right? So we got to break that up. And I don't think we're going to necessarily go right to number 2 after we finish the meditation book. I think there's another one we need to put behind that before we go back. That'll give us a good at least 2 months or so before we move into the discovery book of my big toe. But Tiffany, hey lady, Amanda, Grand Rising, Al, semicolon, shalom, shalom. All right, beautiful people, let's get started. Father, continue to lead us and guide us into all truth, right? That's our opening for today. So let's get started. Oh, picked up the wrong book. My big toe comes second. Okay. Tablet K, Book of Kingship and the Dragon Blood. Oh, quick note. And I'll remind you again at the end. Tomorrow, Sunday, I'm not sure where everybody stays at, but it's daylight saving time for us. So we are going to come on an hour later. It's still going to be 7:50. Was it tomorrow? 7:30 because it's Sunday. It's still going to be 7:30 our time here because it's the spring. We spring forward an hour means we lose an hour. Yeah, I think that's right. We lose an hour. Or we gain an hour. How does that? Yeah, spring forward. Spring. We lose an hour. So I think it's going to be, I got to reread it, but I know spring forward, fall back. And I think we lose an hour in the spring, right? We lose an hour in the spring. So you just got to be mindful of that. Check your time zones. I'm not sure if everybody has a daylight savings time thing. So if you come and we're not here and it's about that time, it's either, it could be you're late an hour. I gotta double check. I gotta make sure we gain an hour. We lose an hour. We lose an hour of sleep. If we're springing forward, okay. So if it's 2, we spring forward. It's gonna be 3. Right. We lose an hour. I just had to forgive me. I had to think it through and say it out loud. Okay. So you might be late if you show up. Is it show up at the right time? Yeah, you're gonna be late if you don't have daylight savings time where you live. If you come at the time we've been here, you can check, just double check. We'll get it together. We'll see tomorrow, right? Okay. Tablet K, Book of Kingship, the Dragon Blood. Lose an hour of time, gain an hour of light. Yeah, that's right. We're gaining an hour of light because the sun is going to be setting an hour later, right? It's still setting at the same time. It's just we change time and put things into increments. So to us, it looks like it, but it's always been that way. They just shifting us around in time, but the skies are staying the same, except for during the wintertime when it gets darker sooner. Yeah. So, but we're not having that lesson. Yeah, I'm going to be early. It's going to be early. I got to think that through. Probably. So just figure it out. Figure it out where y'all at. My phone is gonna automatically go forward, so my clock and stuff is gonna go off. So just think about that. Work that out from y'all end. Okay, let's start this tablet. Tablet K, Book of Kingship, the Dragon Blood. Here begins the ancient tablets describing activities during cultivation of civilization on the Earth planet by the Annunaki after their prehistoric arrival and development of the Adamu race of men, where Enlil is indicated on ancient Sumerian tablets as the commander of the gods of the air, which is the Anunnaki. It is Enki who is designated as Lord of the earth and the great deep. Anunnaki were present on the planet prior to the creation of humans. It is only once the Igigi, or the Watchers, or also called the lesser gods, right? Or the younger gods. It is only once the Igigi, Watchers, lesser gods, become insubordinate that the necessity for another means of field labor is necessary. As population numbers of humans continue to grow, they were allotted to specific city states and domesticated. Maintaining absolute control, the Anunnaki taught and offered resources for not only a more permanent civilized standard of living as opposed to nomadic, but also all the contemporary aspects of human social living that is taken for granted in a modern society, including but not limited to the building of roads, permanent architecture, social education, law enforcement, mathematics, writing, the will. Blood of Kings may be the center of modern controversy, but details of Earth's sovereignty are very clear in the ancient world. It was so clear that Enki had successfully established a world order, one which was ruled, measured, dictated by a world emperor, one that followed a familial line or a family line. The idea is that the role of kingship actually came down to earth from heaven. We can see the collaboration in this we can see the collaboration of this in diverse cultures where L.A. Waddle illustrated so clearly that the same names appear on kings' lists from Egypt, Mesopotamia, and India, the first three seated Anunnaki civilizations. The next section is the world order of Enki. Shayla, that's Wabu. Lord Enki, who most nobly travels the heavens and earth, Father Enki, self-reliant, offspring of the bull of heaven, prized by Enlil, Ker, and loved by the holy Anu of heaven, Lord Enki planted the tree of Abzu in Eridu, its shade spreading over the heavens, its grove spreading across the earth. Enki, lord of the Anunnaki, strong one of Anu, and Urus, Nudimud, the mighty one of the Eker. Enki lifts his eyes and observes where the bison is born, and where the stag is born, and where the sheep is born. In the meadows, in the place where no one dares to enter, he fixes his eyes. At the command of Enki, the grain is heaped and piled up, and at the command of Enki, the harvest of the land is fruitful. At the command of Enki, the sheep in the field are plentiful. At the command of Enki, the shepherd is called forth to work the field. At the command of Enki, the woman is called forth to churn next to him. The meals are set forth by clean workers in the dining halls of the gods. The lords and rulers are thrilled and come to feast and joy. Enki, Lord of wisdom, beloved of Anu, supreme name in Eridu, Enki, who directs the commands and decisions of the Anunnaki on earth, except on the day of the fate declared for mankind in the deluge. You have locked up the gate by day and have brought down the stars. You have calculated the unknowable number in the universe and have fashioned the wheel in which months enter the mansions. You have allowed mankind to live and given them a place to call home. Enki, you have commanded the watch over your creation. Father Enki, walk among the fertile land, may it bear healthy seed. Nudimud, walk among the cattle, May they give healthy birth. Enki, Lord of Abzu, when you walk among stacked grains in the field, celebrate your offering as is your holy right. My father, who is the ruler of above and below. And Enki said, I am the true offspring, who was sprung from the wild bull of heaven. I am a leading son of Anu, who storms over the great below. I am the great Lord who rules over all the lands. I am the first ruler among the rulers, and the maker of kings on earth. I am the father of all the lands, and eldest brother of the Annunaki gods, who seals the gates both above and below. I am cunning and wise in the lands, who directs justice alongside Anu. I am the one Nintu truly loves, and who Nin-Hersag gave a good name. I am the leading son of Anu, lord of all the Anunnaki. At the command of Enki, the stalls for sheep were built. The fields were sown, and Enki poured water from the he-gold upon them. At the place where the stalks were piled up, a shrine was built. A good name it was given, the pure place. A shrine was built to decree good fates in the Abzu. The sacred spells and litanies were recorded on tablets in the Abzu. Hold on. Sacred spells and litanies were recorded on tablets in the Abzu. The lands of Megan and Tilman, or Dilman, it has Dilman in brackets, set eyes upon Enki. The gold and silver was transported to Nippur for inspection by Enlil. The great eye of Enki sweeps the land, watching over and protecting. The great eye of Enki is foremost everywhere, above and below. Praise to you, Enki, Lord of above and below, who all the priests of Eridu and Sumer praise, as is seen in the religious rites in the Abzu. Great gods of the Anunnaki stand watch over the holy places. Cleanse the house with your presence and purify the shrines. The Anunnaki have taken up their dwellings in your midst, and they consume the food harvested by the workers in the fields. In the great house in Sumer, many stalls were built, and cows did multiply, and the shrines were built up to the heavens. Enki, Lord of the Abzu, decreed the fate for the shrine of Ur. Enki crossed the Tilman, and in brackets it has Dilman, cleansing and purifying it. Lagoons were placed near the beautiful shrine, full of fish. Palm trees were planted in its fertile fields, dull of dates, but devouring power. Enlil attacked the walls, stealing the gold, silver, and lapis, and returning it to Nippur. The attack of Enlil occurred when Enki had turned his eye from there and had instead returned to the Euphrates River and stood like a bull. There he filled the waters with his own life and also the Tigris River. The water he brought was flowing with life and sweet as wine. The waters fed life to fields, and the grain was raised to be eaten. Another holy shrine was raised, its interior like a maze, with a lower station built to follow the Iku constellation, and with an upper station built to follow the Chariot constellation. And the Anunnaki gods dared not to go near this place, except when humbled in prayer and supplication. To establish kingship, Enki dripped the dragon blood on the shrines. The lines of kingship on the earth were so designated from heaven, and he gave to the king a starry crown to wear. And to the king he gave the lapis lazuli implements, fastening to his line the lapis lazuli diadem.
I pray that the rain stop.
Father, hold back the rain.
So Ginger just said they're gonna get it right.
No, they better get it right.
They better get it right.
They better get it right. And y'all watching, y'all better get it right. No, we working with y'all.
So yeah, we good with that.
Okay.
Dang, it's raining to stop, man.
Yeah.
Hey. Good morning to you. Oh,
okay, y'all. They gotta work today. All right, hold on. Fastening to his line the lapis lazuli diadem, and it has reference number 63 for diadem, and it says diadem, a jeweled crown, headband, or recognized symbol of absolute authority. The good earth was lavished with flourishing vegetation. Enki multiplied the herds in the fields and pastures and set them in their place, allowing them to breed together. The lofty and powerful hand of Enlil was passed on to Sumugan, the king, and the Hersag it was placed in charge. The kings were decided, and the borders of the realms were decided. The Annunaki were called forth and given their charge. Great cities were raised and filled by the queens of the birth giving. To these Anunnaki queens, the birth of kings, they were charged. And so, by the decree of Enki, did the dragon blood rule over the earth. Y'all know dragon blood got to be in the title for the day. Yo, that was the end of this tablet. Trina, hey girl, hey, Robert Betwabu. Oh, great spirit. Hold on. Hold on. I normally flow when I give y'all a little prayer. Oh, great spirit. Oh, great one, fill us with your presence so that we may glorify you in everything we do. Hallelujah. Levine blessings. Yay, Seth. Yay, Seth. Shalom. Zoe, that's Father. All right, y'all. Okay, so this next one is it actually goes into kingship on earth from heaven. We had 16 minutes. And what this is like, we'll go through it since we had like 16 minutes, right? It'll probably take us about 15 minutes to get through it. This is literally like a genealogy. So it's given the names of the kings and how long they ruled. Literally, that is all of this chapter. I mean, all of this tablet. It gives the quick overview and then it just gets into it. You know, the part in the Bible that y'all normally skip over. You're like, yeah, okay, let's go back to this chapter. This is what this is, but we're not going to skip over it, right? Remember, there's some good stuff hidden in there because as you grow and develop, you start putting things together. You're going to start thinking about some of the people who were listed within the genealogies and their time period. So you absolutely must know it. All right, son. Have a good day. Love you. All right. Kingship on earth from heaven. Remember, tablet. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Yeah. Okay. So let me correct myself. Correction. It's not a new tablet. It's still tablet K. It just splits it up. Okay. All right. All right, babe. Let me see. All right. So the first part was the Book of Kingship and the Dragon Blood. So that was this first part, and this next section, which is still a part of Tablet K, goes through the kingship on earth from heaven. And speaking of this, if you have the OASP, if you got it, I noticed something. When you get towards almost the middle of the book, I'm not sure if you recognize it, but when you get towards the middle of it and to the back, I literally just recognize it. Yes, I'm like, why is this split like it's two books on one page? It really is. The OASP, the OAHSPE, the big blue book that I shared with y'all the other day, and it's a picture in the community section and on Facebook. Remember, OASP stands for, the O is literally three words put together. The O is sky, A is earth, and SPE is spirit. Heaven, earth, man, right? Or heaven, sky, earth, spirit. OASP. It's like all three together. Like we're one. OASP. That's what the book is called. But anyway, if you go through, you will notice when you get towards almost the middle, it'll start breaking the pages in half. And it literally is a separate book. And I went through, I'm like, okay, why is this doing this? And down in the footnote, but actually in the footnotes and also in the little the header at the top under the section, it'll explain to you that it's given the perspective from heaven and the perspective from earth. So that's why it's split. So I'm deciding if we're going to read it and how I'm going to read it when we get to those particular portions. If I'm going to read one chapter up here, because that like the top part, the top section could literally have like 10 chapters just on the top of the page and following the top of the page, and the bottom half could be like another 9 or 10 chapters going on the bottom of the page. So I'm like, okay, so do you read the top half first and just go through till you're done with the chapters, then you come back and go through all the bottom chapters? Or do you read them like read the first chapter from the heaven and then read the first chapter from earth, and then we go to the second chapter, read the the second chapter from heaven, then read the second chapter from earth. So I got to go through it and see. It says it correlates. It said these things were, in my own words, were happening simultaneously, but this is what they saw from the heavenly realms, and this is what they saw from the earthly realm. So I think it makes sense to read one, then read one, read two, then read two. But I don't want to get people confused and all mixed up. It's like we're going in between, back and forth between two books, So I'm trying to figure that out and see how that makes the most sense if we are to read that. So, but I think it's some really interesting stuff in there, and I think it falls in line with what we're learning. But still thinking, see if we should read it or not. Okay. Oh, yeah. So about the Holy Megillah. So if you order the Holy Megillah and you order the whole, like the whole packet, the Holy Megillah is $97 just by itself, right? So I'm sure you can just order that by itself and only spend $97 if you don't want to pay like the $235 or $270 something for everything else that they will include in the packet, right? But I ordered the whole packet for like the $200 something, and within that packet, it actually tells you why they don't want it on the internet, right? So my letter sending to them, I still haven't sent it yet, and I still haven't finished crafting it, simply because when I finish reading through that little pamphlet that they sent with it, and let me just go ahead and give y'all a heads up if y'all are going to order the whole thing. The little paperwork that they send with you, don't just throw it to the side like it's receipts and we're going to save that for later. Read through it. Listen, because they put some information inside of it. It's the thickest one. It's probably like about 40 pages, right? And it's printed and they staple it together and they put it in there. You think so? Just a manual, maybe some extra helps or something. I actually took the time the other day, a day before yesterday, to actually read through it, right? So when I read through it, I'm like, it tells you exactly why. And I mentioned the other day, it tells you exactly why they don't want it on the internet. And I even think in private groups, like with us doing it on the Zoom, I'm still going to ask about that. See, but here's the thing. I can control the recordings from my end, but people who are tech savvy, who come in, I can't tell if they're screen recording me, right? So that's a variable that I can't control. And I would hope and trust that those joining would have honor, courage, and commitment to the cause and would not do that, right? Because somebody can easily record it where I can't tell, even though I'm recording the Zoom calls and controlling it from my end. So all those who are even present, you no longer have access once we're done. I can keep the recordings for myself for my own personal growth and stuff like that to go back and listen to it. But I can't control what other people do who come in, who record it. And if they record it, and my face is shown there being recorded, and if they pass it along, even if they could just pass it along to a really good friend or family member that think, oh, this is good, but maybe that family member or friend may not have the same ethics and hold the same type of commitment that we do, and they think it's good information. They just think they're doing a good thing, and they're gonna go to share it, and they're gonna go to share it, and before you know it, it's going to be out there, and somebody's going to upload it to YouTube, and it's going to come back to me. They're going to upload it somewhere because my face will be plastered all over it. And it's going to come back to me, and I'm going to get in trouble, right? Not just spiritually, but legally, I'm going to get in trouble. So if you don't read through that packet, you may not quite understand. And I don't want that to happen, because there's like, and they explain to you, and not that somebody is saying something to scare you, to keep you from doing things, but I understand it's like another level of accountability for the spiritual levels where you're going, right? Not that you're keeping secrets or anything, because if it's a group of you, like the ones behind the screen name on YouTube, Oh Great Spirit, it's a group of them, right, that tune in. So say if you wanted to order it, you guys that are there personally, you guys could read it together, right? But they don't want it online, right? Not, it's because of some of the what you would call secrets in it, but not just for the sake of keeping things a secret. It's to keep, and it's a way of life. And I don't think for people who are truly walking with Yah and really trying to make sense of everything, they're not gonna like water it down, so to speak, or whatever. But I think it's because of some other things that are in there, like I guess I just use the word secret. Not that they're really secrets, but people who are on, it's like, okay, you get access to some stuff and they tell you, they give you the first little portion of it, it's in the Megillah, but the other portion that should also be in there, they've kept it separate from the Megillah because it's like a higher level, but they are going to release um they're going to release another version with some updates of this particular Megillah or whatever. And there are some separate manuals that the information that was not necessarily canonized in a Megillah, that it's there, and they're letting you know it's out there, it's just not in here, simply because some people will give away this, right? But they explain it to you, but you'll never know those hidden secrets if you don't read that little pamphlet. Matter of fact, and through the pamphlet, when you get to about page, I think it's about page 10, it actually makes a reference to those who actually read through it and say, if you made it this far, you are a diligent student. And you read it, and I'm kind of somebody who literally said, if you made it this far in this pamphlet, that means you are a diligent student. So there were some things that we purposely didn't say, just to kind of, it's just to kind of sift through the crowd, see who's serious about learning, see who's serious about taking their spiritual life up another level, right? So that's something I'm gonna just throw out there. So if you're getting it, read through it, like really read through it. There is some nuggets in there. To me, they're simply amazing. And I'm like, yes, this is the stuff I've been looking for, right? And it takes you through some stuff. But there's some stuff, like I said, that's included in the Megillah where some people like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. But I told you, like growing up, even my grandma said, even the Holy Bible used to actually have the books of white magic and black magic canonized inside of it. Like they took that away first, then they took away what we call today the Apocrypha. And then yeah, they lump a lot of stuff under the Apocrypha, but there are also a couple other books that were canonized in it that they've taken away. They didn't take it and hide it. They took it out and they separated the people by religion, and they gave these books to this side and just gave us we'll call it the scrubbed version of the scriptures over here. Take out all the juicy stuff. You know how when the FBI police, they release information and you got all these blackouts and pages are missing. You start on page 2, then you jump to page 10. Like, where are the missing pages? That stuff is still classified. It's kind of like that because you don't want certain information getting into the wrong hands, especially if they have not grown up spiritually. And I realize it's all about the spiritual maturity levels. You give some of this stuff, like now, some people can't even handle some of the stuff we're saying now. It's like, oh no, you spiritually you're not there yet. Not saying that you're not going to get there, but spiritually you're not quite there. And you don't even have the understanding of why that's there, right? Okay, so I just wanted to give you that little nugget of truth for those of you that were going to order it, that's thinking about just ordering the Megillah, right? I would recommend, if you're going to order it, if you're a serious student, if you just want it for good reading, pastime, stuff like that, okay, get that. But those who are serious, especially if you've taken the Nazarite vow, right? And if you're serious about your Nazarite vow and it's a long vow, like mine is, I think it will help you greatly, right? Because I'm like, this is the stuff that's missing for the Nazarite, right? It's Numbers chapter 6 in the Holy Bible, Numbers chapter 6, the first 21 verses in Nazarite, that little blurb that they give you to get started. Like, I've been in my Nazarite vow for a few years now. Mind you, I had to start it over twice because, a couple people passed and their family members close, my dad and my grandma, and I had to start it over because I touched dead bodies, right? So I understand that, but I thought that through before I actually touched them after the spirit left their body. I'm like, if I touch them, I will be violating my vow. You're going to have to start over, Pam. And let me think it all the way through. I had to think it through like, okay, I took it for a certain amount of years, which is a long period of time. Some people like, why would you even do it that long? That's just my commitment that I show to the Father, right? The Most Holy. Look, we can do this for the rest of my life, right? But I didn't take it for the rest of my life yet. I plan on it. I plan on doing that. But after a couple increments of a few years of, just really getting in, and then as the children get older, probably once my children actually all move out the house, then that's when I'll do that long-term vow until I take my last breath here in transition, right? So but that stuff that they have there, that is, I'm telling you, if you've taken a Nazarite vow or you are considering taking the Nazarite vow for any period of time, I think the information there is really helpful because it's priceless information on, I guess, the few years that I've been doing it. I guess it was just really to show a commitment. I mean, the Father knew if I was going to do it or not, but really to show the commitment to myself, right? And it's like, okay, I need more. I need more. What am I really supposed to be doing? I get it that you give me information as a Nazarite, and if that was it, and then I could be, I would be fine with that, But I just felt like there was more. Something was missing. And I think this is a portion of the missing. Matter of fact, I absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is a portion of the missing link for those who've taken the Nazarite vow. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that in the title for today and do some hashtags for Nazarite vow, just in case some people, I know it's a lot of people that's taken a vow, that's been searching around on YouTube looking for things about the Nazarite vow. Like, is this the only thing that there is? Is this all we supposed to do? What is in Numbers chapter 6, verses 1 through 27? Like, I'm sorry, 21. Is that it? So clearly it's not it. So that was just a little, side note for the Nazarite. So the Nazarite prospects. Okay, so let me go through a little bit of this. Matter of fact, we might haven't talked about 10 minutes now, 10, 15 minutes. Okay, let's start. Okay, so this is going through the kingship on earth from heaven. In the Ancient of Days, the gods, and in brackets it has Annunaki, reigned in heaven alone. In the Ancient of Days, there was none for the earth to reign. This is the account or the chronicle of the kingship in heaven and how to earth it did descend from the king of heaven, Anu, but formerly in the Ancient of Days, Alulu, and it has reference 64 for Alulu. Do you have to send an email? You can literally, Trina, you can literally just go to the website that I gave they already had the form up there. And I'll post it again today. Look in the community section. I'll send it to you directly. The link all the way at the bottom of the page, there is the order form for it. You got to print it out. Print out the order form. Fill it out for what you want. Get a check or a money order, send it in. I think it'll take you longer if you write a check, which is probably why it took about 3 weeks for me to get it, because I wrote a check. But if you get a money order, they know those funds are cleared already. So you may get it a week or two sooner before I got mine. Right. So you have to mail it in. They don't even allow you at this point they let you get the order form offline, but you have to do snail mail. Yeah. So Amanda. She said, I was given an OSPI over 20 years ago, and Kojic sanctified self. Kojic sanctified, would you say? And my Kojic sanctified self gave it away. I wasn't mature enough yet. Whew, boy, I know some things I wish. Yeah, I get it. Now we got to go back in our awakening years and like, oh man, I gave it away, and now you got to go find another. But thankfully, the WASP it's only $30. If you got Prime, they got a $5, a $6 discount going on right now where you can get it, right? So, but yeah, right now you can still get it. Okay. So Alulu reference 65. Hold on, what? This is numbered wrong. No, I'm sorry. It's in here twice. And they have 64 and 65. Okay, so I'm going to read both 64 and 65 for Alulu. The first Alulu, where it says, but formerly in the Ancient of Days, Alulu reigned in heaven. That Alulu is reference 64, which says, Alulu, a name transliterated as Alalu in other tablet cycles regarding kingship in the heaven, interpreted as Nibiru or Nibiru by some, and the spelling is different. For the first Nibiru is Nibiru. The second spelling of Nibiru is Nebiru. Okay. Hold on. But formerly in the Ancient of Days, Alulu reigned in heaven, and for 9 stars did he rule the skies, but he did not reign well. Then in the 9th star of his reign, Anu attacked and defeated Alulu. And this Alulu is reference 65, and it says, See the tablet V series given within this Necronomicon and Annunaki Bible. Oh, you already got it? Sweet Amanda. Auntie Belinda Brown, Grand Rising. Okay. Ululu then descended from heaven and ruled the dark-hued earth. Kingship was lowered from heaven to earth by the decree of Anu. For this feat, again, Anu gave fight and defeated Ululu. Born to Anu and his consort, Antu, was Enki and Enlil. So y'all remember Ululu, right? Remember that fight when we read the Lost Book of Enki? That fight between Anu and Ululu? It was Ululu who bit off the private parts of Anu, right? And they banished him to the earth. And they said, we don't really need to do anything to him. We're just going to banish him. We ain't going to kill him because his innards or his penis is going to explode inside his belly anyway. And that's going to take him out, right? And so that's what happened. They banished him to earth. But during that time, before he actually got sick, before what he had done began to catch up with him, he actually discovered a lot of things and let them know that earth is inhabitable, and he took that message back. And that's how he got unbanished. I don't know the word for unbanished. I'm gonna just say unbanished. They brought him back. He used the speaker, right? He used the speaker to call to them from earth back to Nibiru, let them know, hey, earth is a habitable place, like we could like live here. So took that message back, then he came back, and then they unbanished him. But after they unbanished him, they got the idea, oh, it's habitable, we're gonna send a crew down there. And that's how the rest of them got down here. And he got pissed about that. I'm supposed to be the king, you banished me there, like this my place, I discovered, I let y'all know about this. So he got pissed about this, and that's why he got sent to Lamu, which we call Mars today, and that's where he died. And that's where he was buried. Okay. Ululu then descended from heaven and ruled the dark-hued earth. Kingship was lowered from heaven to earth by the decree of Anu. For this feat, again, Anu gave fight and defeated Ululu. Born to Anu and his consort Antu was Enki and Enlil. The lots were drawn to determine the reign of Anu, Enlil, and Enki. To remain on the throne in heaven was the fate of Anu. To assume command of the Anunnaki on earth was the fate of Enlil. To be granted Lord of the Abzu and the Iridu was the fate of Enki. The dragon blood of mankind was given rule of humanity. Firstly, before the deluge, kingship was in the Iridu. Ululim reigned 8 sars, and 8 sars is 28,000 years, followed by Alagar, who ruled for 10 sars, which is 36,000 years. So I guess if we do the math, 10 sars, 36,000. So I guess for every Anunnaki year, it would be 3,600 years, because 36,000. Yeah, I think that's the right math. Yeah. So for every Anunnaki year, because remember, Anunnaki time, they age way slower than what we do here on the earth. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now it's about to go into the kingship and the whole list. So stay with me. I know some of y'all might blank out on it, but if you do, just come back. We'll still be here reading when you come back. Okay. Then kingship was moved to Bad Tabira. In me, in Lu, and not, hold on, they broke it all up. Enemi in Lu Laana reigned for 12 sars, and that's 43,000 years, followed by Enmi in Galan Anna, who ruled for 8 sars, which is 28,000 years, and Dumuzi, the shepherd, for 10 sars, which is 36,000 years. Then kingship was moved to Larak, and Ensibzi Anna ruled for 8 sars, which is 28,000 years. The kingship was moved to Shapar, which is also Zimber, where Enmi in Durana ruled for 5 sars and 5 ners, which is 21,000 years. Then kingship was moved to Shurapak or Shurapag, where Ubara Tutu was ruling for 5 sars and 5 ners, 18,600 years. And then the great deluge swept over the earth. The deluge ended the kingship of the gods, the Annunaki, on earth. After the deluge, the decree of kingship again came down from heaven, and the rule of the demigods, and it has in brackets EGG with a question mark, began with Gaur or Negasher for 1200 years. Gula or Gula Nidaba Kulasina Bel for 960 years, Nangilishima for 670 years, and Antarahana for 420 years, Bubum for 360 years, and Punam for 840 years, Galibum or Kalibum for 960 years, Kalumumu or Kalumum for 840 years, Kaga Gib or Zuka Kip for 900 years, and Abba or Atab for 600 years. Ataba or Mashta, son of Atab, for 840 years. Arpium or Arium, Arium, son of Mashta, for 720 years. Adri, shalom, shalom. Can we ask, what is the Genesis prayer? I don't know. What are you referring to? The Genesis prayer? Did I say something about a Genesis prayer? Or maybe it's something you were wondering about. I don't know. I haven't heard the Genesis prayer. Now, I know in the Holy Megillah, they have the Genesis account of what happened, which I think is really good. Everybody should read it. Everybody need to get a Megillah. Read it. The Holy Megillah. I'll wait for your response. I'm going to keep on reading. Okay. Etana, the shepherd, ascended to the heavens and returned to earth to begin his dynasty. Again, kingship had been lowered from the heavens, and Etana ruled for 1,500 years when kingship was moved to Uruk. And so ended the rule of the demigods and began the rule of earth-born deities. Bali, son of Etana, ruled for 400 years, and in Menuna for 660 years, and Melamkish for 900, and Barakuna for 1200, and Meza for 140, and Tizkar for 300, and Ilku for 1200, and Etasadam for 1200, and Inmin Baragisi for 900. The dynasty of Uruk is marked with the rule of Aga for 625 years, followed by his son Meshikia Agasher, also descended of Utu, but after 325 years of rule, he entered the great deep and disappeared. The son of Mishkiaga Asher built up Uruk strongly. His name is In Merkar, and he ruled for 420 years. Lugal Banda ruled 1,200 years, and Dumuzi for 100 years. The last of the famous earthborn deities is Gilgamesh, who was fathered by a spirit and ruled for 120 years. Then Nugal took up the rule for 130 years, which appeared to the end of age of long life ruling in Uruk as Utul Kalama, Udu Kalama ruled for only 15 years, and Labasham ruled only 9 years, and Inanadana Tarahana ruled only 8 years, and Mishi or Mishhihi, the blacksmith, ruled only 36 years, and Milimana or Malamana ruled only 6 years. The first dynasty ending with a 36-year rule of Lugalakia or Lugaya Kitum. In the first dynasty descended from Mishanipata, 80 years. Mishkiaganana, 36 years. Ilulu, 25 years. and Balulu 36 years. In Awan, there were 3 kings who ruled undisclosed names. When kingship passed to the dynasty of Kish, circa 26th century BC, the bloodline was carried by Sasuda 200 years and Dadasig 81 years, Mamagal 360 years, Kalbum 195 years, Tuj 360 years, Menunna 180 years, NB Ishtar 290 years, and Lugalin Gu 360 years. Before the kingship was observed in Lagash, Nanshi 30 years, Arkugal 9 years, Inatum 30 years, Nanatum E 20 years, in Timmina 22 years, Ina Inanatum 2 9 years, Inin Tarzi 5 years, Lugalanda 5 years, Uruni Minjina 9 years. Forgive me for those who know how to pronounce all these right. I know I am royally screwing them up. I'm sorry. For a short time, the dynasty of Hamazi rules and was carried out by Hadanish for 360 years. And then kingship was returned to Uruk Unug, which was begun with In Shagu Shana 60 years, and Lugal Kin Shedudu Lugalur 120 years, a contemporary of Itimina who ruled in Lagash, followed by Argandia 7 years before being defeated, and then kingship was returned to or Urim with a dynasty from Nana 120 years, followed by his son Mishikan Ginana 48 years, and then Lugala Nimundu 90 years, carried the line to Adab, and then Anbu put forth the dynasty of Mari, 25th century BC. The line continued with Anba, 17 years, Bazi, 30 years, Zizi, 20 years, Lemur, the Guduk priest, 30 years, and finally Sharu Mitter, 9 years, before the Mari dynasty was defeated and kingship was resumed in Kish. No, we're gonna pause on this today because y'all not gonna be fighting over it. I already foresee it. Okay. And then Anbu put forth the dynasty of Mari, 25th century BC. The line continued with Anba, 17 years, Bazi, 30 years, Zizi, 20 years, Lemur, the Gudu priest, 30 years, and finally Sharumeter, 9 years before the Mari dynasty was defeated and kingship resumed in Kish. Kug Bao or Kubaba ruled in Kish for 100 years. The kingship in Kish was rivaled with the Akshak dynasty, though remaining Kish after the rule of Unzi 30 years. Yes, baby.
You tell Bria, give me the remote. I was watching something first.
Okay, tell her to turn back. Nobody turn. You watch what you gonna watch first, and then after your show go off, then she can turn and watch what she want to watch.
And I say don't.
Okay, little girl. Let me see if they mama live. My nieces, we having a sleepover, slumber party. They've been bugging us about this. And then when they get together, they fight. I'm like, listen, all of y'all, stop it. And they find the smallest things to fight about. All this stuff, y'all can't stay off the phone and the game with one another. And you cry, when we going to get to go over there? When we going to see them again? Then we bring y'all together and all y'all do is fight, right? Bella want to be bossy. This is my house. This is my remote. It's mine. I'm like, girl, if you don't share, this ain't your house. You live with us. And so she's looking at us like, and she'll fold her arms and start tapping her feet. I was like, I wish you would try and swing or rock your neck from the one side to the next. I'm going to push it back to that side if you swing it over here. She just turned around and walked away. They just open their eyes and they're already fighting over the remote. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay. Where did I pause? Okay. I'll just go back. Kugbao or Kubaba ruled in Kish for 100 years before kingship in Kish was rivaled with the Akshak dynasty, though remained in Kish after the rule of Unzi 30 years, Und Alulu 6 years, Ur 6 years, Pazernura 20 years, Ishuil 24 years, and Shu Sinsen 7 years. The line of Kubaba continued in the Kish by Preser Suinsen 25 years, Urzaba 6 years, and then it has /400 years, question mark. Zemurdar 30 years, Usi Watar 7 years, Eshtar Muti 11 years, Ish Mishamash 11 years, Shu Elishu 15 years, and Naniyah 7 years, and then Lugalza Gezi ruled in Uruk for 25 years. In ancient Akkad, Sargon was cupbearer to Zaba in Kish before becoming the king of the realm of Agad or Akkad 40 years, and defeating Lugalza Gezi in Uruk, thereby ruling Sumer, followed with the descent of Remush 9 years, Manish Tishu 15 years, Naram Suin Sin 56 years, and Shar Kalish Gani 25 years. Then in 3 years' time, Eri Gigi, Emi, Nanam, and Ilulu ruled. Afterward, reign was with Dudu 21 years, Shudur Kid 15 years. In ancient Babylon, Sumu Abu 24 years was given the kingship, followed by Sumu La Ilu El 36 years. Zabu Sabum 15 years. Abil Sin or Apil Suin 18 years. Sin Mubalit 20 years. And Hammurabi. That's a familiar name. Hammurabi, who received the book of the law from Marduk. In Gutium ruled at, I'm sorry. Hold on. The Gutium rule was at first in chaos. They divided the land among and became to each their own kings, and so their rule was short. In Kishush 6 years, and Zar Lagab Erila tax 6 years, Shulmi Dugmi 6 years, and Silulu Mesh Ima Mesh 6 years. Ini Ma Bakesh Dugga 5 years, and Izia Aush Iluan 6 years. Yarlagab Erla tax 3 years, and Ibate 3 years. Yalag Nagab Erla Gesh 3 years, and Karum Basim 1 year. Apilkin Nikin 3 years. Labera La Era Bum La Sirib 2 years. Urarum 2 years, and Urbanum Doranum 1 year. Kahalab Hold on. Kahalam. That's a B. Blah. Kahablum. Sorry, y'all. Kahablum. Kalamu. 2 years. I'm getting tongue tied. All these crazy names. It wasn't crazy to them, but it's crazy to me because I'm just now learning about it. And Pazu Surin Sin 7 years. Yarlagana Ia Ayurla Gudia 7 years, and in Ridi Puzer 7 years, and finally Tirigan ruled 40 days before being defeated by Utu Kehigil. From Uruk to Namu carried the kingship from Nana. Namu, Uruash Zikum, 18 years, and Uruk Shaluji, 9 years. Ama Suin Sin, 9 years, and Shu Suin Sin, 9 years, and finally Ibi Suin Sin, 24 years, the last great king of Ibi Ishbi-Era Ashura, the general of Ibi Suin Sin, established a new dynasty of Isin Larsa, 20th century BC. Ishbi-Era Ashura, 33 years, and Shu Ilishu Katini, 10 or 20, it says 10/20 years. Oh, okay. Maybe that's two people. 10-20 years. Eden Dagano Daku, 20 years. And Ishmi Dagan Daku, 20 years. Lipit Ishtar, 11 years. And Ninurta, son of Ishkur, 28 years. Amar Suin II, Bursin, 5 years. And Lipit Enlil, 5 years. Ura Imiti Ashura Iwiti, 8 years. And Enlil Insak Bani, 24 years. Zambia. That's an interesting name, right? African country. Zambia, 3 years. And Turner Pisha, 4 years. Urdu Kaga, 4 years. And Suwin Majir Sin Mapish, 11 years. And Damik Elishu ruled for 23 years before the rise of the emperors. The dynasty of the Kassite emperors infiltrated Babylon first with Gandash, followed with Agum I, Kash Tili Ash I, Ushi, Beratash, Kash Tiliash II, Zigurumash, Harabashihu, Tip Taksi, Atra, Gandish, Agum Katrim, no, that's not a K. Agum Kakrim, Kara, Indas, Agum II, Kakrimi, Burnaburish I, Kash Tiliash III, Ulam Buriash, Agum III, Karain Dash, Kadash Man Harbi, Kari Galzu I. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying not to laugh at myself. Kadash Man Enlil I. Burnaburiash II. Kara Hardash. Nazi Bugash. Kuri Galzu II. Nazi Marutash. Kadash Man Turgu. Kadash Maniel II. Kurdu Enlil. Shagarakti Shuriash. Kash Tiliash IV. Enlil Nadin Shumi. Kada Shem Harbi II. Adad Shuma Indina. Adad Shuma Usur Nuri III. Milishipak II. Marduk Al Apla Edina. Zababa Shu Madin. Enlil Nadin I, defeated by the Elamite Shurtruk Nahunte. The line continued with his son, Burna Buryas, then Kuri Galzu I, Kadash Man Bel, Burna Buryas II, Kara Kardash, and Kadash Man Karabi, before the arrival of the Assyrian Empire. Mainly Shalmaneser, we know that name, right? Second name I recognize, Shalmaneser. Tukuli Tin Ninib, and Asher Nazarpal. A reformed Babylon, 12th century BC, began with the Isin dynasty. Marduk Kabit Aheshu, 9 years. Iti Marduk Balatu, 15 years. Ninurta Nadin Shumi, 6 years. Nabu Kaduri Usur, 23 years, who became known as Nebuchadnezzar the First. And then we almost done, y'all. This is literally, we almost at the end. This is the last page. And Lil, hold on, let me underline that. Nebuchadnezzar. Hold on, Nebuchadnezzar, Shalmaneser, because these are names. It links to the Holy Bible, y'all. You got to figure it out. Okay. And then Enlil, Nadin, Apli, 3 years. And Marduk, Nadin, Ahi, 18 years. Marduk, Shapik, Zuri, 13 years. And Adad, Apla, Edina, 23 years. Marduk, Ahi, Ariba, 1 year. Marduk, Zerx, 13 years. Nabu, Shum, Liber, 7 years. And Simbar, Shippak, 28 years. Iamukin, Shumi, 1 year. Kashud Naden, 4 years. Ulma Shaken Shumi, 16 years. Ninurta Kuduri Aser, 2 years. Sharikiti Shukwam Munu, 1 year. And Mar Biti Apla Aser, 6 years. Nabu Mukin Apli, 36 years. And Ninurta Kuduri Ashur, 1 year. Marbiti Ahi Edina, 23 years. And Samas Mudaminki, 20 years. Nabu Shuma Ukin, 12 years. And Nabu Apla Edina, 33 years. Marduk Zakir Shumi, 36 years. Marduk Balasu Ikbi, 5 years. Baba Aha Edina, 2 years. And then 5 kings in 5 years, followed by Ninurta Aplax, 10 years. Marduk Belzeri, 10 years. Nabu Shuma Ikshur, 12 years. Nabuna Asur, 14 years. Marduk Apla Ashur, 12 years. And Iriba Marduk, 8 years. Nabu Nadin Zeri, 2 years. Nabu Shuma Ukin, 2 years. I'm sorry. Nabu Shuma Ukin II, 1 year, before the emergence of the 10th dynasty under Nabum Ukin Zuri. Nabu Mukin Zuri ruled 8th century BC, 2 years in Babylon, and then Tiglath-Pileser, I recognize him. Then Tiglath-Pileser III, 2nd year, and Shalmaneser, 5 years. Marduk Apla Edina II, 12 years. Also, the biblical Merodach. It has a question mark. That's who they think this is as they're translated, the biblical Merodach in the Old Testament. I think that's in Chronicles. Okay. Sargon II, Sharukin, 5 years, and Sennacherib, 2 years. Marduk Zakir Shamui II, and Marduk Apla Edina II shared 1 year. Bel Ibini, 2 years, and Asher Nadin Shumi, 6 years. Nergal Meshu Mushizib, 2 years, and Mushizib Marduk, 4 years, who was ruling when the Ashur dominated Babylon for a time. Ashurbanipal ruled 21 years, and Semas Suma Ukin at the same time. Kandalanu also ruled 21 years, and Sensum Lisier only 1. The 21-year reign of Nabu Apla Asur Nebo Polasser brought the new Neo dynasty or Chaldean dynasty to rule in Babylon, followed by Nabu Kuduri Ashur, Nebuchadnezzar II, 42 years, Amal Marduk, 2 years, and Nergal Shah Ashur, 4 years, Labashi Marduk, 1 year, and Bunaid Us, 17 years, who was ruling when Cyrus, 9 years, launched the Persian Empire in Babylon. So as we get to the more familiar names, that's when it begins to intertwined with the biblical references we find in the genealogy chapters, the books of Kings, Chronicles. So this is like they just jump to like when the human race was created, but they leave out everything else. They figure, you know what, you're the human race, that's all you need to know about. But when they remove that stuff, we kind of get off a little bit and start worshiping people who we should never be worshiping in the first place, right? Okay. Worship was really never supposed to be a thing. It really wasn't. As you get a little further, you realize actual worship like we do, it was never to be a thing. That would probably only make sense to you as you grow, and then you understand how the Father wants us to grow here. It's like we live it every day, but we don't recognize it. It's the same cycle. How when we have children, and you can see all of this, how we're supposed to grow. Our children don't worship us, do they? No, but they do come to us for advice. We're there for them when they're small and they can't necessarily pronounce their words, but we know ahead of time what it is they're possibly needing, and we give it to them, right? We know that you're going to be hungry, so we're going to go ahead and feed you. Just like things spiritually, Yah gives us things before we know we even need it. It's probably because we're like, not that he always stopped, he stopped doing it when you get to a certain point, because he doesn't, right? Before we even know we have need of something, it's like he's there to give it to us, especially if we haven't grown a lot spiritually, where we can kind of understand some of these things, where some of us will be treated different than some of the ones. It's like you always seem to call and he come through for you, but it's like I be having a hard time getting trying to crack through the heavens. Okay, well let's investigate and see why. Because we could figure it out, y'all. Now that I'm growing, I was like, oh, this is not hard to figure out. Some things I need you to throw me a friggin' bone here, right? But other things you just pay attention. You pay attention to daily life, you can literally almost extract the answers you need just by paying attention to your daily life. That's something I've learned. Okay, let me finish this last little couple sentences with these. Okay. Ashur Bani Paul ruled 21 years, and Samas Suma Ukin at the same. Kadan Lanu also ruled 21 years, and Sin Mulisar only one. The 21-year reign of Nabu Apolasar, Neopolassar, brought the new Neo dynasty, Chaldean, to rule in Babylon, followed by Nabu Kuduri Ashur, Nebuchadnezzar II, 42 years, Amal Marduk, 2 years, and Nergal Shar Ashur, 4 years, Labashi Marduk, 1 year, and Nabune Us, 17 years, who was ruling when Cyprus, 9 years, launched the Persian Empire in Babylon. And this is the last little portion. Then Cyrus II, 7 years, and Smerdis Bardia, 1 year, Darius the first of Persia, 35 years, and Xerxes the first of Persia, 20 years, Artaxerxes of Persia, 42 years. These names are familiar to you if you read through the book of Esther, right? Going through Esther, we hear about Xerxes and Artaxerxes, all of them. Okay. Artaxerxes of Artaxerxes the first of Persia, 42 years, and Xerxes the second, 1 year. So Danius, 2 years, Darius the second, 18 years, and Artaxerxes the second, 45 years. Artaxerxes the third, 20 years, and Artaxerxes the fourth, 2 years. Darius the third, 6 years, who was in rule when Babylon was taken by Alexander the Great, circa 330 BC. And then you should jump to the book of Maccabees, right? So if you read it long enough, y'all, you begin to put these pieces together. Okay, Daniel, Maccabees, all this. Okay, you got to put them together. It's like you got to rearrange the pieces of the puzzle. If you get enough information, it's really good. If you look at something long enough or read it long enough or research it long enough, you're able to begin to make the links. But if you don't, and we started just reading the Holy Bible, y'all, right? Then we realized, wait a minute, it's pieces of my puzzle missing. Hold on, wait, this is everything. Is there another box? It's like a part 2. We supposed to, it's like they send you to part 2 once you finish with part 1. It's like, okay, I got part 1. Okay, I need these missing pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and apply for the second course. I need the missing part. I'm trying to complete this puzzle, please. Can you send me the second installment of these puzzle pieces? Okay, boom. So we start going to the book of Enoch and their apocrypha, right? Okay, all right, we got this in. We're still missing puzzle pieces. The puzzle's getting bigger, but we're missing pieces. Okay, it's another. I'm done with the first and second. Can you send me the third installment of puzzle pieces? We ready for it, right? And each installment of puzzle pieces you get determines how you've grown spiritually and what you can handle at that time. Just like children coming from the womb, there's only some things they can handle. First thing you got to realize, they can only handle milk. You get a child a piece of meat or even some solid fruits or vegetables, you can choke them and you can kill them, right? Although fruits and vegetables are good for the body and that's what you need to thrive, they can't handle that yet. Just give them milk from the mother's teat, from the mother's breast. Just let them as much as they want, at least 6 months. Some do it for 2 years. Just let them get there for everything they need. They're going to get while they're there. Now, when it's time for them to transition to the next stage, what we're going to see, we're going to see some teeth beginning to come through the gums. Oh, okay. Your system is prepared. You've been on milk long enough to for the teeth begin to break through the gums. Okay, we're gonna start thinking about it, right? So we might go get a apple or something and put it in a blender, mash it up, let you taste a little bit of it. Like it? You don't really have to use your tooth yet. We'll still make the consistency nice and smooth just to help you out, right? Because you only got one tooth. We can use that to open this can of beans right there, but nothing else. So, but y'all get it, right? It's the same thing growing spiritually. When I realized that, I'm like, oh, snap, which is why some people will fall off as we go along because maybe they haven't developed some of their teeth yet where they can actually take and chew the meat, right? That we're getting or that we're going into. And that's okay. They can come back later or they can find another place to go as they circle back around to this portion, right? But these are pieces of the puzzle that you can't leave out. We may not use everything, right? Because if it's a puzzle or if it's a clues you need to find out, there's always decoys and things to see if you're going to catch. Wait a minute, hold on. That look about right, but something's still a little bit off. No, I don't fit quite the way it should, right? So then you got to go through this comparing and contrast stage, right? To see if you just take anything and put it in there, right? You're gonna mess the puzzle up. So all of these, the mind, the spirit is developing, right? Different skills and stuff as you grow. And it's really pretty interesting. Once you get past the frustration part and you learn to just kind of go with it and enjoy the journey, researching becomes way more fun. And the whole frustration portion, it kind of leaves you. You don't have to. Not saying that you don't have to deal with it, but you can choose not to deal with it. You can deal with it in a lighthearted fashion, so to speak, right? Y'all, we had an hour and 13 minutes, but it's Saturday. Let me see. Let's read a little bit of it. We ain't gonna finish it, but we're gonna read a little bit of it. We stopped at Mother Nature over here in chapter 27 in My Big Toe. What were we talking about? Oh, last thing, we are allowed to use our brains. No kidding. We actually are. Okay. So it's literally talking about really just understanding and growing. I think the bigger thing we was talking about was entropy. No. The evolution of AO, patterns, symbols, information, and memory, motivation, and evolutionary constraints. Right. Okay. So let's read a little bit of this. Let me go back up a little bit before Mother. Matter of fact, let me just go back here to the end of this aside that we did. Okay. Any species or evolutionary experiment continues to fulfill or actualize its future potential until there is no more significant potential states to investigate and the fundamental process grinds to a halt. Okay, right. So if y'all seen the Marvel movies, and I think it was Endgame. Remember Endgame, how you had all these different ending outcomes. He had to sit there and think about it, and he said out of all, when Doctor Strange sat there, he went through all the multiple possibilities on how this could end. The best one, the best way, and they still got some damage, right? There was still some damage to some of the Avengers that were pretty much, you're gonna go away, you're going to go away. The Black Panther is going to go away. You're going to go away. And there ain't nothing going to be left but three of us. But it is out of all the infinite possibility. Well, I guess not infinite. If it was infinite, then there'd be multiple. It wouldn't end. Out of all the possibilities at this level, there's only one outcome to where at least three of us are left alive, right? We're going to go with that one. and everybody starts disappearing, right? But it was the best outcome. Even though you lost people, it didn't look right. What you mean I gotta go? Well, I didn't create this. This is the best outcome if we're going to win this war, if we're going to win the end game. And some of us, it's just going to have to take one for the team. Well, most of us going to have to take one for the team. It's only going to be 3 left, but that's the best outcome because those 3 will carry it through to where we actually win the war, right? It's hard to think about that sometimes, but it's, it's just the way it is. Okay. Any species or any evolutionary experiment continues to fulfill or actualize its future potential until there are no more significant potential states to investigate and the fundamental process grinds to a halt. The experiment is over, at least temporarily. And this does not necessarily imply extinction, just that no future progress, growth, involvement, or experimentation takes place until a new external or internal conditions create new significant possibilities. In biological systems, it is imperative or the imperative or urge to implement the fundamental process is naturally energized and guided by the probability of survival and propagation. I just took that from Isaiah. I said, wait, because I don't want y'all fighting over it. And he definitely gonna have something to say if you come waltzing up there with it. No, we're gonna wait. I'm gonna put this right over here. Don't start. Don't start with me. Princess Ariel Bella. Don't start.
Getting on.
Well, you ain't gonna get on it at all today. Because first of all, it belongs to me. It's mine.
I just want to get it on.
I don't care. You not. Don't make me get up. Go on, carry your little stuff upstairs. Come here. Girl, come here. You stomp. I promise you, I'm gonna put this book down. I'm gonna follow you. You better walk without weighting your feet. I had to listen to her go up there because she be trying my gangster. She'll try and stop when she get to the last 2 like I ain't gonna hear. Then I got to do what I said, right? Because if I don't do what I said, if I don't follow behind her, then I'm considered a liar, right? And then they like to play on that. Oh, mama always be talking, but she'll be never following through. I got the boys one day. I had to flip out. I ain't flip out on them. But Isaiah was good for that. I said, you stomp up the stairs if you want to. I'm going to come right behind you. And I knew it. I had already planned. I made sure I had stretched, make sure my back wasn't going to go out on me while I was running up the stairs. You used to see the other boys. They came flying behind me. Isaiah went stomping up the stairs, and I made noise. I shook the chair, threw it down so they could know I was on his tail. I'm like, boy, pop, pop, making all this noise. Go up behind him. You should have seen the look of horror that was on his face. I didn't even touch him. I just came up real fast and got in his face. I said, didn't I tell you not to stomp up my stairs? And he was like, I'm sorry, mommy. I'm sorry. I was like, go on in the room and sit down. Don't let it happen again. That boy ain't never stomped away again. He didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just needed to put the fear of God in him. Stop playing with me like I'm your friend. When I say do something, that's what I mean, right? Boy, it's fun raising a whole gaggle of kids. Okay. Oh, the rain's starting to come down a little bit. Okay. All right, y'all. Hold on. This does not necessarily imply extinction, just that no further progress, growth, involvement, or experimentation takes place until new external or internal conditions create new significant possibilities. In biological systems, the imperative or urge to implement the fundamental process is naturally energized and guided by the probability of survival and propagation. For evolution to remain viable within a system, the system must maintain a continuing set of significant, useful, or profitable choices and possibilities. Specifically for biological systems, evolution. Hold on. Did I just read that? No, it just looked the same. Okay. Specifically for biological systems, evolution remains a viable process only if the biological organisms continue to survive and propagate. Nevertheless, survival and propagation are not the only test of evolutionary significance or profitability of biological organisms. Both extremes of biological evolution are not explainable by positing survival and propagation as we generally think of it as the main motivators of choice. The first small group of biological cells had no enemies. Even the environment became friendlier over time, and they weren't interested in eating each other. Not yet. Life was simple and good. Toward the other end of the evolutionary spectrum, many humans are likewise no longer focused on survival issues on a daily basis. Technology intervenes in our behalf. For example, almost a fifth of us in the Western world have a genetic vision impairment that is correctable by technology, wearing glasses or contacts. 10,000 years ago, such a defect would have made us much less survivable. Our modern, bespectacled brethren, still dropping like flies because of their inferior visual equipment, is evolution weeding them out as genetically inferior? Does having to wear glasses or contacts make it more difficult to survive? Find a mate and propagate your genetic material? A little, perhaps, but not as much as it used to. Some futurists picture us as evolving into people sporting large brainy heads with spindly arms and legs, our physical weakness both created and overcome by technology. If survival and propagation were the only measures of evolutionary significance, why would we need such big brains? Have we not dominated our competition with the brain we have? We have only one natural enemy now: ourselves. Perhaps we need bigger brains to avoid self destruction. That proposition doesn't make us seem very smart. It is our brains that make us so destructive. A bigger brain as the solution to the excess of a bigger brain is hardly a logical solution. I have read somewhere that we only use a fraction of our brain's capacity as it is. Bigger is hard pressed to justify greater evolutionary profitability. It is not a lack of intellectual capacity that is at the root of humankind's self inflicted difficulties and dysfunctional behavior. The fundamental problem is the lack of quality in consciousness. Quality is the issue, not quantity or capacity. We obviously have more processing capacity within our consciousness than we have the quality, maturity, or wisdom to put that capacity to good use. As a species, we are out of balance, and that is not good. And that is actually where we paused at the last time we read. So, this right here, what we're going to read, a little bit of this, is what we pick up with the new reading for this chapter. Mother Nature, who is talented at evolving interdependent complex systems, always produces self balancing systems. Jen, good morning. Natural systems are self regulating because the evolutionary process of maximizing the profitability of the overall system must be self optimizing. I'm sorry, self optimizing and self balancing process in order to achieve and maintain stability. If a natural complex system is knocked out of balance beyond recovery, it self destructs or regresses to a state where the unbalancing factor is brought under control. Growth toward an out of balance condition within a complex natural system will eventually be eliminated one way or another. Future growth moves the system towards balance. The system regresses to a previous stable state or it self destructs. Within biological systems, the most obvious example of an unbalanced system leading to self destruction is a quickly growing cancer. In contrast, within consciousness systems, the most obvious example of an unbalanced system leading to self destruction is ignorance, fear, desire, need, and ego, a lack of quality. What is creating evolutionary pressure if we are no longer okay, I started reading it wrong. It's a question. What is creating evolutionary pressure if we are no longer preoccupied with the traditional issues of survival and species propagation? We have become aware enough and capable enough that self improvement is now our main goal. Most importantly, that means spiritual evolution, or equivalently, the improvement of the quality of our consciousness. Self improvement could also mean the development of science and application of technology that might eventually result in spindly arms and legs or merely developing a more civilization. It could also mean something as quick and direct as human genetic engineering. Self improvement is the result of an internal pressure created by the fundamental process. Evolution, expressed through a high level of sentience, becomes the urge to grow. And in parentheses, it has reduced entropy. Remember, reduced entropy is what? Entropy is going the way of least resistance, right? So kind of like my sister, she here yesterday. I'm gonna share. I'm sure she won't mind. So yesterday, she went out of town, right? And so she had already kind of got not necessarily woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but things kind of started going wrong throughout the day. And so she was getting, as the day was progressing, she was getting more agitated. Even while she was driving, people driving crazy and then stopping to get gas. She went in and a lady, she pointed out to the car, a vehicle that had backed up to the pump. Mind you, she pulled up at a gas station where is multiple pumps, right? And nobody else was there. Well, a couple people was there, but there were multiple pumps open. Multiple pumps were open, but this car seems to come get behind her and back up really quick. And she looked, and the cashier pointed out, she said, "You need to be careful. People steal gas around here." And Alicia looked out there and it looked like this woman was about to take her pump. And they figured, my sister driving a BMW, they figure, oh, they might be in a little while, they can pay for it, right? And so she looked like she was gonna steal gas, pull the thing out from my sister's tank and fill her car up. My sister caught it. And mind you, we roll with a side piece. She didn't pull it out, but she gave it to her. And the woman acted like, "Oh no, I thought." And my sister just she like went off. Well, what do you mean? You weren't what? This looked like you was about to steal my gas. And Leisha was like, she said, "I wanted." She said the day was already going bad. She said, I wanted the opportunity. She said, "I wasn't gonna shoot her. I might have hit her with it, pistol whipped her." She said, "But I know I couldn't do that. She can't do that." She said, "I would have a record." She said, "But it would have been justified." And I was already pissed off today. I was like, Leisha, and I decided to make this a teaching lesson for her. I said, "Listen," I said, "Remember in the morning videos how we're talking about entropy?" I said, "Let's look at this on the flip side, right? I said, the form of least resistance is flowing through you, but that's on the negative side. See how the day kind of started bad, but everything is flowing that way is because you've opened yourself to that." I said, now your energy has changed. So everything on that frequency, on that level of energy is flowing to you. That's why things keep going wrong. This woman was about to steal your gas. Well, you possibly might have caught a charge, right? You're going out of town for a break. It's going to turn out bad. I said, if you've allowed yourself to go with the things that happen throughout the day, you could have corrected it early on and changed the frequency of the energy that was flowing to you and what the energy was on. I said, you need to put on some music upbeat. I said, don't put on nothing that's like, "I'm gonna kill this." Don't put on none of that. I said, you need to put on something else that's going to take your energy level up from where it is. I said, then the day will change. Not only that was all that stuff, but her husband was pissing her off, like everything. And she was just calling me back to back. I'm like, "Girl, if you call me one more time today." She said, "I just need to vent." I said, "You need to change the frequency you own." I said, because the more you stay pissed, the more you're going to be pissed. It's like what goes wrong continues to go wrong if you keep that energy. I said, you have to correct it from your end. I said, "Put on some music." "Okay. All right, I'm going to call you back." Then she hang up. And then she called back. "I just got one more thing to say." And she went off like I was the one that pissed her off. And then she hung up on me. I'm like, this heifer. I was going to call her back. I was like, you know what? I'm pissed off more when I call her back. So I'm just like, let her breathe. I hope she put on some music or whatever, because she still had about 2 hours to go. She got stuck in traffic, like everything. And I'm just laughing. She mad with me because I'm laughing. I'm like, "Least you can't see it." I said, "Listen, just change the energy level that you're on." She needs to get that green energy. Yeah, right. So it's just like when you're running late. Like you get if y'all start paying attention to it, you will see it and you're able to correct it. Everything is within your power to change, right? It's just like if you wake up late, right? Your day start off late and your boss say you got one more time to be late. This going to be your third write up. Then we're going to hand you that pink slip. You're going to lose your job today, right? You oversleep because or whatever. Say you was having a bad night or you had an argument with your spouse or something could have pissed you off. But if you don't change the frequency you on, it's going to just keep attracting those things that's going to further piss you off into your life, right? And it's going to go from bad to worse. And you can go from 0 to 60 in less than 0 seconds, right? Everything is going to be heightened, right? So just like you driving and you in a rush, ain't nobody else in a rush but you. And because they're not in a rush, they're taking their sweet time. But you're in a rush and now you get out the way. Why are you driving so slow, Miss Daisy? Oh, you doing all this crazy stuff. And if you got a passenger, it's like, what is wrong with you? Now you got road rage because you didn't correct your energy, right? You already woke up on the wrong side of the bed. The things are going with you. So now you're filtering the world through your lens and you think everybody else in the world is an idiot. And you need to be looking in the mirror to find the source of the real idiocracy. It's you, right? So, but I'm just saying, I was like, Leisha, I said, that's how entropy is flowing. That's happening. You are, what do you call it? The person that's least resistant to fight against it. So it's going to flow in your direction, right? If you are already on this level, oh, we ain't got to fight over here. We can just flow here because that door is already open. You've already opened the door. So the energy is going to flow through you. It's the route of least entropy, the least resistance, the route of least resistance. That's what happens, right? They call it entropy. It's just on the flip side of the negative side is the positive side, right? So those of you or those of us who have been awakened to certain things, information is coming to help us grow spiritually. If we've already broken down a lot of religious barriers, we're the least resistant to fight against this information, and we'll at least look at it so the information flows to us. Even if we don't quite understand it, we're open-minded, right? So the information, when it's flowing, it's not going to run up against resistance to us. When you run up against resistance, people that still is like Jesus everything, right? The whole religious thing. And it don't just have to be Jesus. It could be somebody else with other religion. It's like, nope, ain't nothing else going on in the world but this. It's either this or hell, and I ain't going to hell. The information will stop. Even if it's a person bringing some information, that's it. It'll stop. They'll stop, turn away, right? You're too resistant. That's too much of a fight. We're looking for an open door so this water can flow, right? If the water sees an open channel, you can think about water flowing, right? If the gutters are backed up, the street is going to flood. There is no outlet for it, right? So it's going to keep searching till there's a route of the least amount of entropy, the least amount of resistance so it can flow. And either whatever's flowing to you, whether it's the negative side, it's just going to get worse because you open the door. It ain't got nowhere to go but here. So it has to flow here. You got to close the door to the negative side. But for the good side, the positive, for the good information, for spiritual growth, you got to unblock them doors, right? Take down the barriers. You need to be the source of least resistance, right? You have the least amount of entropy. That's why the information keeps coming, right? And I think because I've become more open-minded, my entropy is at an all-time, I ain't gonna say an all-time low, but it's lower than what it was this time last year. More information comes to me. Hence people leaving comments, hey, have you checked this out? And now I'm actually open-minded. Let me at least check it out. Oh my gosh, that's how I came across the Ohospi. I mean, I keep saying it wrong. I keep saying Ohospi is Ohospi, like Ohospi, right? And then the Megillah, all this stuff. I was like, oh my God, what I've been searching for is here. But if my entropy and my walls were up, we wouldn't be here. We'd still be Exodus chapter 4. It's like, okay, how many times you want to circle this mountain? That's why at the end of the year, I'm like, y'all, we have got to take this up a level. Like, but my entropy was like, okay, what they gonna say? They gonna think I'm getting off. They gonna think I done completely turned off the path. And I'm just like, they may not be there, but it's like we just got to kind of walk through the steps. So I'm letting y'all see my progress as we grow. Mama said, okay, regarding the slow moving traffic, poor planning on your part does not make an emergency. Oh my gosh, yes, right. Emergency on your part I mean, yeah, poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Like everybody need to move because now I'm running behind. No, you should have left a little bit earlier, or you shouldn't have hit your clock 50 times before you chose to get out the bed. Right? Your poor planning does not constitute an emergency on my part. I'm gonna keep moving at the pace I'm moving. Right? Yeah, Francis, thank you. It's called the law of non-resistant. Take form of water. It takes. Hold on. What? It's called the law non-resistant. Take form of water. It takes over the problem. I think I know what you're saying. I probably read it wrong. You might need to add a comma or something in there or rephrase it. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. If it takes the form of water, it takes over the problem. I get what you're saying. The law of non-resistance. What we were just talking about entropy. Okay. All right, y'all. Where'd I pause at? Oh, I don't even think I even started this. Okay. No, I did. I stopped at reduce entropy. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read this again. We'll be at hour and 36 minutes. I'll finish this little portion right here. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to just finish this little portion. We can probably finish this possibly tomorrow. Okay. Self-improvement is the result of an internal pressure created by the fundamental process. Evolution, expressed through a high level of sentience, becomes the urge to grow, reduce entropy, the drive to increase profitability, and an inherent dissatisfaction with stagnation and decay, increasing entropy. Stagnation is at best and a stable state for any life form. Typically, if growth is halted and does not soon resume, decay sets in. The internal environment produces the evolutionary pressure of self improvement for the sake of greater individual and system profitability, while the external environment specifies system constraints. Clearly, self improvement represents the major evolutionary pressure driving change in contemporary humankind, as well as the original clumps of cells in the primordial sea. Take note that inside environments can be a significant player in the evolutionary process, and that survival and propagation are not the only important variables in the profit calculating supporting PMR evolutionary dynamics. And remember, PMR stands for physical matter reality, which is this world we live in, the physical world. Non-physical matter reality is what we call the unseen realm or the spiritual realm. Okay. Profitability is a matter of dynamic evolutionary circumstance that is wholly dependent upon the nature of the inside and outside environments. Whether or not a driving evolutionary force leads to a more profitable or less profitable state for any particular self-modifying and evolving system depends on the collective choices made or the path chosen by that specific system. That's good. She ain't here. We was talking about this. It's funny they would bring this out. I wish she came in because we was talking about paths and the paths you choose and what's along that path. And she just while she was in the mix of her whole uh high entropy state where everything wrong just flowing to her. She said, "Why does my life have to be so hard? Why is always?" She just kind of went into her downward spiral moment, like crying and everything. I'm like, "Girl, you crying?" I'm like, if you don't pull yourself together, and it was raining, and she was driving. Like when I say everything, I'm just like, girl, if you don't stop it, pay attention to what's happening to you, right? Look, why does my life have to be so hard? Why is this? Why is he not doing this? And they doing this, and the kids pissing me off, and I'm about to kick my oldest daughter out. I'm like, Leisha, everything that's happening is because of the choices you made. You said your daughter could come back and stay with you, and she acting crazy again. I said, but you chose to let her come back. I said, your husband acting crazy. Granted, you know the situation at not to get into that. I said, but you chose to marry him, knowing his whole family background and all that stuff, right? Just kind of summing up stuff. I said, you chose that. I ain't telling you to go divorce your husband. I'm just trying to bring some things to her awareness. and she get mad about the choices she made. I said, with every choice you make, there's certain repercussions and consequences or blessings that are along that path. You choose this path, there are certain things that you're going to find here that you may not find over here. There are certain blessings you will get over here that you won't get over here. Not saying you won't get blessings over here, you will, but they may look a little different from over here. It's the path you chose. I said, no path is going to be clear of debris. I said, so you need to understand that and pull yourself together, girl. There is no crying in baseball. And so that's funny. Y'all probably, I just shared with y'all why, but it was talking about the path chosen. But she really should be here today. She probably just like, I'm probably just hungry. After all of this going off, she said, you know what? No, she didn't say hungry. And she said, Pam, all I ate today, I mean, she said a couple strawberries and I had some water, and I'm probably just hangry. After all her going off, and she finally said that, I just started busting up laughing, right? And so in the midst of her crying, I'm busting up laughing, like hollering and screaming, like my stomach hurt laughing. And she stopped her crying and she started laughing too. I'm like, girl, if you don't pull over somewhere and get you something to eat. She pulled over. She called me from Subway. She said, girl, yeah, I think I was just a little hungry. I'm like, listen here, before you get on the road, again, you decide you want to call me, you better run through your checklist of stuff. You better make sure you eat before you leave. Oh, I love my siblings. I really do. I really do. Okay, hold on. This is the last little bit right here, and we're going to end it. It says, okay, there's a bigger picture, and this is actually a little aside. It's like a couple sentences. There is a bigger picture in which our overall profitability equation is shown to have additional terms beyond physical matter related survival, propagation, and self improvement that you will understand much better after you have completed sections 3 and 4 and 5 of My Big Toe. For now, keep your skepticism healthy, your mind open, and after your mind open, he has in parentheses, free of beliefs. Remember, we said just don't throw anything away, Christianity, whatever. If you want to hold on to stuff, Jesus, okay, just set it off to the side while we're bringing some extra information, right? Just set your beliefs aside just for a second so you can get a little more information. Then just go back, bring your beliefs back in, and reevaluate everything based on what you now know and have proven to be truth in your life, right? But at least keep an open minded just to understand you possibly may not know everything. You possibly may not have been taught everything. At least keep the open mind that we always might be missing some information, right? For now, keep your skepticism healthy, your mind open, free of beliefs, and realize that it is much too early to jump to conclusions. There will be plenty of time to do that later. And that is what we're going to pause at today, beautiful people. All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed the reading today. I actually enjoyed sharing some of these little side notes about my sister. And I can tell she ain't came in yet because she ain't said nothing. So she probably still sleeping. And she probably should sleep for a long time today. Pull herself together. All right, y'all. With that being said, it is Saturday, March the 12th, 2022, day 53 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. It is day 1071. We read all of Tablet K in the complete Annunaki Bible, and we read a little bit more of chapter 27 in My Big Toe, starting on page 223. And we went to page 224. We actually went back. We didn't start on 223, although that's what we should have, but I went back a whole page. So I actually went back to page 222. Let me fix that. I keep track of my notes because sometime in the future I'm going to come back and I'm going to look for stuff, or somebody going to ask me a question, and I got to know like exactly where to go to, because it's going to bug me if I can't find stuff. All right, y'all. So with that being said, like I said, that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. Thank you, Father, oh most holy, for giving us an open mind. Continue to bless us and bring us new truths. Not that they're new truths, they're just new to us, but things that we didn't previously know before, to add to our learning as we continue on our journey in truth in this life here on earth. Continue to lead us and to guide us in all truth. Help us to recognize stumbling blocks and not to fall for them, right? If we see our brethren or sister stumbling, we'll reach out a hand to them, a line to them if they stuck out in the water somewhere, and give them the good common sense to reach for that line when they see it. All right, y'all. That's it for today. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow. Remember, daylight savings time. For those of you who have daylight savings time, we're springing ahead an hour. Spring ahead, fall back, right? Spring ahead, we're losing an hour. So at 7:30 tomorrow, it's actually going to be 8:30. Okay, yeah. So, well, if you're in Eastern time, if you're in a different time zone, figure it out for your time zone. But we're going an hour ahead tomorrow. So expect us to be if you don't have daylight savings time where you are, expect us to be an hour late tomorrow. But we're going to be on time according to the time zone change, right? Okay, and that's it, everybody. That's it. I love y'all. Remember the notes from the beginning about the Holy Megillah and reading it and stuff. So I think it might be an all around no go. I'm still sending it in, but as I thought through stuff and I actually read through that pamphlet, I really don't feel like I really should send the email because it's answered in very specific detail in that pamphlet. You know, that's why I said we may not be able to read it at all. That's why I said if you have like close family and friends where y'all together, like some of the groups of people that come and watch from maybe like one screen, you guys could get it and you could read it together. Like start your own private reading of it, but we can't put it on the internet in any kind of way. And even if it's Zoom, even though I would be recording it on my end, somebody who we give access to could possibly decide to screen record it as well. And if their ethics are not as high as they should be, they may share it. And then it could leak out in some way, find its way to the internet where it's uploaded because they think they're doing a good thing and sharing with everybody that needs to see it, which is what I originally thought I was going to do until I actually read through the stuff that they sent me on why, right? Then I could get in trouble, not only spiritually, right, but legally I could get into some major trouble, and I don't want that. So we got to figure out other ways to do it. Like I can read it with my family that's here, like we come together because the city I'm at, when we meet up anyway, have family whatever gatherings, whatever we do, we could do it that way. Personal family, we could probably FaceTime or whatever, but people that I don't normally interact with daily, even some people here, not saying that any of you guys are like that, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? Because people, it's an open platform. Well, the Zoom is closed, but if I record it, and it doesn't matter if I record it or not, somebody else could record it without my knowledge from their end, if they're that computer savvy, and they could literally take all of it and it could end up there anyway, but it still would be my fault, right? Because I didn't think it all the way through. So if you really want it, you got to order it. Go get it. I'm recommending. That's one of the ones I'm recommending. Get the Holy Megillah, right? And I'll just go in the community section. Y'all, everybody here probably already seen it anyway. Just go in the community section. It's there. And I'll repost and pin it in the videos today. So, but all right, y'all. That's it. I ain't got nothing else today. All right. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You woke up 9 minutes ago.
You woke up 9 minutes ago. Why? Well, who was that upstairs? All them feet I was hearing running around about 20 minutes ago.
It was Bob.
All right, you're possibly right. All right, y'all. Bye. No, Isaiah, you came down here almost an hour ago because you brought my iPad down here to me. They think they fooling. Bye, y'all. Kids.